perfectionism. There is a problem with it. And a lot of times we don't even realize that perfectionism and procrastination, to me, I say that they're cousins. What happens with people who have perfectionism, and I can talk about this because it used to be me, and I'll share more about that soon, is that we oftentimes get in our head and we look at the situation and we know that we're supposed to be moving forward. You've got that message, you've got that book, that business. Maybe you're supposed to move. You've known it for a long time that you were supposed to actually relocate, but you keep saying it's not the perfect moment. Maybe it's a relationship. You know that you're supposed to actually be meeting more people and networking and doing a lot of other things. But as you look at your personal surroundings, your personal life, things that are not necessarily going the way that you desire, you literally stay. And I know you don't believe it, but sometimes you're staying stuck when you should be moving forward. Perfectionism. It's really up here. It's in the mind. And believe it or not, it's a battle that a lot of people have, but they just don't realize that it's a battle. What's wrong with having everything absolutely, positively, 100% right? The thing about that is that life happens. Life keeps happening. As a matter of fact, look at that. See, that's not having things right. And I will not delete this because I want to show you in real time what it looks like. Do you stop when things don't go right? Do you look at yourself and say, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I should do it. Look at the wrinkles under my eyes. Look at my face. Do you do those things? Or do you give yourself permission to move forward? The word stuck keeps ringing in my mind because I know I've worked with people who literally, when I ask them, what's keeping you? What kept you from moving forward for years? They will usually say fear. They will talk about imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs. They will talk about procrastination and feeling stuck and waiting for the next moment. And I love this one. Okay, I'm just going to go pray about it. And I love when I get to say with them, you've already prayed about this. You prayed about it for years. You waited. You prayed, Lord, if somebody could just come, someone could just help me. I don't really know what to do. And maybe you even said, I just feel a little afraid to even go on live. I don't know if I can do it. You know what I do with people? I literally say to them, you're going on live. Let's pick that day. They pick a day. All right, I'll do it Friday. I say, wonderful. I'm going to show up with you on Friday and you are going to do that live. That's what happens there. And they show up. They do it the first time. After that, they're no longer afraid. It's like smooth sailing for them. They just keep on going, right? They don't stop after that. But it's the first step. The first step is go ahead, show up. What's the gift that you've been given? What's the thing that you've been called to do? What's the message that you have? Like for me, I wrote a book called Don't Give Up. Now, who in the world is going to write a book called Don't Give Up? Right? All right, I see some of you coming on. So funny. Uh, so listen, I wrote a book called Don't Give Up. And I wrote it for a reason. Why would I ever write a book called Don't Give Up? Why? You ever? Like, for what? And believe me, I'm a creative, so I would prefer to have a lot of different, sometimes, okay, someone's saying hi. All right, I'm talking about this topic, perfectionism. Not waiting for the perfect moment, right? Some of you, you're so scared to come on social media because you might have somebody in the comments, looking at you, calling you a man when you know you're a woman. Forget about that. I think it's hilarious, to tell you the truth. You have to stay focused. So I didn't bring my book in here. I wrote a book called Don't Give Up, Acknowledging the Struggle, Celebrating Resilience. What I discovered in my own life is that even as a little girl, I went through some things that many people have, but they're so afraid to talk about it. They're hiding, they're isolating, they're in shame because it's almost like, well, this just happened to me. It didn't happen to anyone else. Maybe God hates you. That's what you think. You think that God hates you because you've gone through some things that seem so hard. It's not that. It's not that God hates you. It's that hello everybody. It's not that God hates you. When you are waiting, you're looking at your life and you're saying, because this is like this in my life, and I don't see it on social media like this in anyone else's life, because I see everybody is like, hey, I'm in front of my yacht, I'm getting on my jet plane, I'm getting in my Lamborghini, and you look at your life sometimes and you're like, well, maybe it's me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But you don't realize that a lot of people go and they see the car, they step in front, hey, snap the shot. Isn't this a nice one? It's not even theirs. It's not even real. I want you to focus more on your life and what you've been called to do, because all of us have been called with a purpose. We all have a destiny. We all have something that we're supposed to do. And so don't let the imperfect moments stop you from showing up boldly, from showing up confidently, from embracing who you are even right now. Because where you are right now matters as much as where you're going. It's all important. We don't want to be like, this part of my life is chapter that's called This Really Sucks. I write a book, right? So my chapters have different names. The thing about our lives is that, yes, it's full of chapters, sentences, it's full of phrases and quotes, it's full of ups, it's full of downs, it's full of moments where you're able to learn to be resilient in the midst of what seems perfectly imperfect. I say in chapter 4 of my book, Butterfly Wings, it's about that caterpillar. And I know you, if you're like me, I don't like bugs, right? But the caterpillar phase is just as important as when it gains those wings and it starts to fly. Every part of your life, every part of your story, the part that you look at and you want to change, you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Go create something from that story. For me, it was grief. It was the loss of my mom. That was one of the most difficult times in my life, where I found myself just like that little girl, that little baby, in that fetal position because I missed her so much. But what I found out was that in that moment when it was the most difficult, that God was right there. It's not like he took the pain away. It's not like he said, I'm not going to let you grieve. I'm not going to let you feel this. He allowed me to feel it, but he also showed me that he was right there. And so it was an imperfect moment in my life. I used to sing all the time. I didn't want to sing anymore. I didn't want to direct the choir. I just would and I was a chaplain in the hospital. I didn't want to go see any patients. I didn't want to do much of anything. But of course, my boss in that imperfect moment said to me, hey, you got to go upstairs. I need you to go to ICU. And I was like, oh, no. I'm not going upstairs. You want me to go see a patient now? I lost my mom. Like, no, I'm not going. And he meant it. He was like, yeah, but you are. Because sometimes you have to learn to press through the process. You have to learn to look at the grief. You have to learn to look at yourself, even in the imperfect moment, and say, I am still valuable. I still have something that's worth it. As a matter of fact, I'm worth it. I don't want you to get to the point in your life where you just look at things. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because sometimes we lose things. We don't have those things anymore. I don't want you to look at yourself and look and say, now I'm special because I don't have any gray hairs and I look young and all of this stuff. You know how many gray hairs I have in my hair right now, right? I don't want you to look at the superficial. I need you to learn to be able to look at your identity, to look at your self-worth. And I want you to realize I am a woman of faith. And what I learned through all of the things that I went through in this life, and it's a lot. It's in my book, Don't Give Up. Um, it's a lot, right? But God used the very things that I wanted to kind of, I don't know, tuck away. I don't want to think about this. And it was like, put it in the book, right? Write it, because there's someone else out there who is literally just like, oh my gosh, nobody else has gone through this. Is someone else out there who's literally saying, yeah, I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to do that. But they're waiting. They're waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is not going to come. Hear me when I tell you this. You know how many years some of us have wasted waiting for the perfect moment? Oh, when it gets better. When I'm married, when I've got the children and the picket fence and the dog and the bird and the cat. When it gets so much better, I'll ask my boss for a raise. But you've been working super duper hard. It's not the perfect moment. Give yourself permission to step forward. Give yourself permission to embrace where you are right now. If it were for the perfect moment, I probably would never ever show up or do much of anything. Not at all. Because it's not perfect. It's life. We're human. Don't let social media ever get you to the place where you literally are kind of like, I'm just going to wait because I see all of this perfection. It was made that way to cause you to wait, to cause you to be stuck looking at OPLs, other people's lives. I want you to start to look at your life. I want you to start to look at the areas where maybe you've been saying, gosh, you feel like you're this perfectionist. It's got to just be 100%. Everything has to be everything, everything. And literally say, you know what? I'm going to give myself permission to stop that and to show up and to be authentic, to look at your life and say, listen, this is me. This is who I am. And to those who don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to. You have a choice. Go follow someone else. Go on another page. You can let people know that. But for the ones that you are called to serve, and for the ones in your business that you're called to show up for, or to the one, where your voice is supposed to be powerful, let it be. Write the book. I don't have it right here, right now. I put up another page just to let you know, Wisespan TV, where I'm going to be talking to you about the self-publishing process. I'm going to be talking to you about taking your creative gifts. And a lot of you, you're just like, oh, if I could just do this. Oh, but I have this job. I'm so busy. And I'm not saying leave your job. What I'm saying is you have to make room for the creative part of your life. You have to do it. And so when you don't, there's a part of you that feels frustrated or depleted or like something's missing. And that's only because you're not blossoming in your creative calling. And I'm saying to you, use that. Don't sit on that. Be creative. It's important to you. So it's Wisespan TV. And I'll be reading from you from my book, Don't Give Up. Over here, it's a bit more about ministry. There are a lot of times that God speaks to us and he'll give a warning. He's given me dreams. He's given me warning dreams. He's given me messages of hope for people because I'm an encourager. And so that's my thing. Like I'm called to encourage. And when I come on this page, so maybe you saw one time someone was in the comments and they were being rude and I responded. The reason I did was because sometimes people need a place of peace. They need a place to be encouraged, to have hope and inspiration. And the last thing you need to do when you're kind of feeling a little down or something's happening in your life is you come over and you see someone in the comments, just spewing darkness or being rude or all of those things. And I don't want you to have to deal with that over here. I really should have deleted his comment, but I responded to him or her, whoever it was. And I kind of let them have it in a way like, listen, stop being foolish and silly. It's not necessary. The world is a place right now where many people want to give up. Hence the reason for my book, Don't Give Up. Hence the reason for the message that I've given. I've been given, I have a message to the wounded. And I could not wait for the perfect moment. I couldn't wait for everything in my life to just be lined up the right way to say that now, oh my gosh, now everything is great. I can show up. I can't wait for that. There's a scripture that says, Lord, teach us to number our days. Teach us, because sometimes we're living and we keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and life is moving. I heard someone say, I forgot what his name was. I don't think he's around anymore. But he said one of the most expensive places, I feel like that's how it went, is in the grave. Why is that? Because some people had so many ideas. They had books upon books. They had digital products. They had inventions. And they kept waiting and waiting and waiting. They had a message to share, a testimony of hope. And they kept saying, but it's not perfect yet. I'm going through this. I'm going to keep waiting. And they waited and waited, and they're no longer here. Don't be a perfectionist. Don't beat yourself up when life is not perfect. Don't beat yourself up when you tried and you failed. Get back up again and try again. And if you fall, get back up again and try again. Try again until you start to see breakthrough. And what I want to say to you is try with God. Don't try to figure everything else by yourself on your own, because sometimes that can be a little weighty, especially when you have people who are not kind of, with you saying, yeah, we agree. Sometimes your friends and your family, you say, hey, I'm going to try this. And you're just like, well, why would you want to do something like that? Right? They don't fully understand. But because you're the one who has the vision, it's up to you to keep moving forward with it. You cannot wait for the approval from people when the idea is deep in your heart. When the idea is deep in your mind, you're going to have to, come on, let's adult. Let's get up, right? Because I look at some of the children out here. Children sometimes have like this pure heart where they haven't been tainted. As adults, sometimes we're tainted because we've tried, things were messed up, people wounded us, we wounded ourselves, whatever it is, and it's almost like we have so many thoughts inside of our mind. But a child, you can tell them that you're going to bring them 100 ice cream cones, right? I'm going to get off and I'm going to bring you 100 ice cream cones and 50 balloons with an elephant. And a child will literally be looking out the window. Okay, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. What happened to that childlike faith? We have to get that back. You have to believe. And you have to not just believe. You not to just don't have faith, but you have to also have works. Don't be a perfectionist. Don't beat yourself up when things are not perfect in your life. Realize that life is a journey, life is a process, and we live in a very, very imperfect world. So show up, be who you are called to be, and don't let anyone stop you. And don't let the comments, turn them off. This is what I want to say to some of you. Just shut the comments off. Don't even leave them on, because you're not here for that. You're actually here to serve. And you are responsible, believe it or not, for everything that God has placed inside of you to do. So don't get tripped up. Don't get enamored, even when you see comments that people are like, oh, you're awesome. Oh, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Don't let it go to your head. Don't let that happen. Just kind of say, oh, all right, thank you, because you never want to have the approval of man. And then when you don't have it, you start to dumb down. You start to shrink. You start to step back. That's the moment when you see that they're like, I hate it. I hate what you're doing. I hate that you're like, oh, okay, thank you. Anyway, let me tell you this, and keep on going. I'm serious. I'm very serious. But I have to give a little bit of humor also to try to lighten the day. There's so much going on. Don't let it get to you. What was that scripture I had for you today? What was it? Oh gosh. It was, I heard it this morning. I know what it was. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this with you because I got to give you a little bit of faith too, because I like to say faith first, now work. So I'm going to talk to you about the faith. I'm going to talk to you about work. Faith first, now work. There's a scripture that says, for the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. I was the lost. I remember a story of a friend of mine who I was telling them about the grace of God, how he had come into my life, how he had turned me around. He took that cussing away. I used to curse like a sailor. Oh my gosh, just a potty mouth. And after I got baptized, I was like the next day, like trying to, wait, I can't get the, why can't I get the curse that? What happened? Right? Because he had washed that away from me. He helped me to be born again. And so the person said to me, they were just like, I was struck with lightning, right? That's what they said, that they thought they had done so much, that they had messed up so much, that they were going to get struck with lightning. And that was a lie. It wasn't true. He came to seek and save the lost. The one is just as important as the 1,000th. There's another phrase that says that he leaves the 99 to go for the one. Are you the one today? Are you the one who's looked at your life and you're kind of like, you're just existing? You're not really doing what it is that God has called you to do. And I'm watching my time. You're just like, you feel like you messed up so much. You might not even believe that God is really real. I didn't either, not until the day that I went and I felt his presence. Not only did I feel his presence, I started crying and I didn't know that I was repenting. I didn't know why I was crying. I felt bad. I felt sorrowful. I was like, what have I done? Even though it wasn't that much, originally I thought I was a good person. And so I was crying and my hand wanted to go up and I was like, what is happening to me? So I'm trying to grab this hand, putting it on top of it. I was having such an amazing spiritual encounter with God that felt so horrible. I wanted to get up and run out of that building. And yet I didn't, because I didn't like to walk. So I sat there and then I went up just to be prayed for at the end. And it was amazing what happened in my life. And then it was the beginning of a new day, not a perfect day. I have not been perfect. Please stop coming on social media and looking at these people, looking at their lives, their filters, their highlights, and saying, oh, if only I could be like them. Don't do that. Don't be drunk with what you see here. A lot of it is not even real or true. And so embrace your life where you are. In the places where you struggle, ask God to help you with those moments. I'm thinking about it was Paul. He had that thorn in his flesh and he wanted it to go. And the Lord said to him, my grace is sufficient for thee. For in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. Show up. Show up in the imperfect moments. Show up in the moments where you feel weak. Show up in the moments where you want it to be better. You haven't gotten there yet. Your business is still like not where you want it to be, but you don't quit before it gets to where you want it to be. You don't quit in the middle. You keep going until you see the breakthrough. All right, that's for you today. Don't Give Up is available on multiple platforms. It's available on Amazon and Kindle and Audible and all of those places. But I would like to use my preferred app, software, space, platform. I like two of them in particular. One is Awesound, the other is PayHip. Some people like Gumroad. I'm going to talk to you about all of these different platforms over on Wisespan TV, so make sure you go over there and subscribe. I like PayHip for various reasons. On Audible, if you are an author and you write your book, and this is really just a little short something for you, sometimes they're going to put your book up for zero because people have credits. So you'll be sharing your value, right? My story is valuable. My life, my digital products, that course I wrote is valuable. And so they'll put it up for zero. It's fine for them. But for you, if you are using your gifts and sharing in order also to get wealth for you and your family, or maybe for a mission, a cause, you will not see anything from that. I'm telling you right now. With Amazon, which is still great, it's a great platform to get your books and all of those things out there, but still you will see, because I feel like they take about 70% of your profit and you are the one who created it. You're the creator, right? So I believe that I know that you should actually have more than that. We're not going to go into Walmart and say, hey, give me a discount on this, and it's not discounted. You're not going to go into Lamborghini and say, hey, give me a discount, right, on this thing, and it's valuable. Your gifts are. You are valuable. You're special. So stop. If it's this imposter syndrome stuff, making light of ourselves, self-depreciating, self-loathing, let's get away with that. I'm going to talk to you more about that here. Okay? So it's on PayHip. payhip.com/faithworksempowered. You can go ahead and listen to it. It's the audiobook that I want you to get. Listen to it. It's going to encourage and inspire you. God is good. I'll leave it at that. Faith first. Now, work. Let me go get to this meeting. Talk to you soon.